So recently I've been playing with this new Versix Vector XL paddle and it really just surprised me at how good it is for the price. So without further ado, let's dig straight into it. The Versix Vector XL 15mm paddle comes in at a price of $130 and you can get 10% off using code STSPickleball, which makes it just $117. This code works on the Versix website and also at Pickleball Central. For $117, the amount of tech you are getting here is pretty wild. It's a fully thermoformed Gen 2 paddle with edge foam around the perimeter. It has top tier spin with solid power and pop, all coming in under $120. I've tried and constantly receiving paddles around this price range, and this one really stood out to me. The construction feels very solid in the hand. The grip is solid all the way around. It definitely reminds me of a lot of the $180 plus paddles that I constantly receive. I actually took the Vector out for a play session without looking to see what the price was, and initially I figured it was surely going to be in the $160 to $180 price range. So when I looked it up and punched in my code and saw that it was $117, I knew this paddle was getting a full dedicated review without question. The feeling off the face is a bit more rigid than most paddles. It has solid power and good feedback off the face. It's not super plush, but that feedback is nice and adds to the solid feel of the construction here. Everything feels very well made. I keep saying this because I really am pretty amazed at how good this paddle feels for the price. If you grab one, you'll see what I mean when you pick it up and you play with it. One interesting aspect about this paddle is the 15mm thickness. Actually, let's go ahead and throw up the metrics for this paddle here. So we can see it has a swing weight of 121.4, which is on the higher end for sure, and is probably why I am seeing so much power coming from this paddle, but I did receive one of the higher weighted paddles. They do have a lower weight option on the website, which should have a lower swing weight. And the twist weight comes in at 7.02, which is very high and is really stable in the hands, which is also nice because with the higher swing weight, you don't have as much room for customization here. What I will say on that note is they do have the option on their website to choose the lighter weight version, which I would highly recommend as this version will have a lower swing weight and overall weight and will allow for more customizability overall. The handle length is 5.75 inches and you do actually get about 6 inches of usable room, which I love. It feels comfortable for two-handed backhands and the circumference of the grip is 4.25 inches and feels very solid all the way around. The 15mm thickness is a nice middle ground between 16mm and 14mm, of course, and does feel really nice in play. Let's jump to the spin results. The Versix Vector XL comes in at 2143 RPM, which is certainly top tier. Solid dip over the net and on drives and serves. Really zero complaints in the spin category. And again, especially for the price. The price to spin ratio here is very good. The general playstyle of the paddle reminds me a lot of a Carbon 1X 16mm, which comes in at 1810 RPM, the Bread and Butter Filth at 1923 RPM, and the Hudef Viva Pro Gen 2 at 1904 RPM. But as we can see, the Versix Vector dominates all three of these paddles in spin, and honestly the construction feels as or more premium overall for a much better price. The power and pop of the Vector XL are very solid, with the power coming in at a 9 out of 10 and the pop coming in at an 8.8 out of 10. The pop never felt too unmanageable, nice above average pop with solid power and that more rigid feel off the face. I never felt lacking in the power department compared to other Gen 2 paddles in the space. My drives, serves, speed ups, counters, and hand volley battles at the net all felt aggressive and manageable. I will say with the higher swing weight of the standard weight version I received, my hands felt a bit slower at the net, but with the trade-off of more aggressive drives and serves. So again, I would highly recommend grabbing the lighter weight version if you decide to grab one of these off their website, so you have the best of both worlds. Let's compare this to the Carbon 1X at an adjusted power of 9 and pop of 8.5, the Bread and Butter Filth at an adjusted power of 9 and pop of 8.5 as well, and the Hudef Viva Pro Gen 2 at an adjusted power rating of 9.3 and pop of 8.8. We can see that the Vector XL is right in line with any other elongated Gen 2 paddle in the space and at a much better price. And to clarify real quick, when I say adjusted, I'm referring to my recent adjustment of power scoring given the addition of Gen 3 paddles to the space. You will see things changing and being adjusted around in my paddle database to reflect this. The sweet spot of the Versix Vector is solid. Nothing wildly amazing, but also not bad even slightly. Just solid. It is right in line with some of the best elongated sweet spots I have felt in the Gen 2 category. So the Vector XL comes in at an 8.7 out of 10, which again is very solid for an elongated paddle. Comparing this to the Carbon 1X at an 8.2, the Bread and Butter Filth at an 8.3, and the Hudef Viva Pro Gen 2 at an 8.4, we can see that out of these few paddles selected, it wins out in the sweet spot category. Lastly, we have control. Being an elongated paddle utilizing Gen 2 construction and raw carbon fiber, we don't get any of the slightly redeeming qualities here that Kevlar and titanium give us in the control category. That rigidity off the face doesn't yield the cushy, plush feeling that generally leads to more control. I will say that high spin, and the confidence in the overall quality of the paddle does help a bit, but for control, I had to give this a realistic scoring of 8.2 out of 10. Definitely average overall, and for the elongated shape, I would say potentially a touch above average. Comparing this to the Carbon 1X at a 7.5, the Bread and Butter Filth at an 8, and the Hudef Viva Pro Gen 2 at a 7.5, we can see that the Versix Vector XL edges out a good portion of the elongated competition in this category. I did enjoy dinking with this paddle quite a bit, as I do like some rigidity and some pop for dinking, as I can be a bit more aggressive. Drops and resets took a bit more concentration than some standard and wide body paddles would, but still doable. And again, overall, given the price, this paddle really is a solid pick in any category. I can definitely recommend this paddle for anyone looking for a paddle in the more value category. It's not $89 like some paddles in the space, but it's a very well constructed paddle with a unique thickness and a great feeling off the face. The Vector XL has very solid spin and feels like a much higher priced paddle construction wise and in play. I think anyone would be very happy with this paddle. Click here to check out the ball machine that's been improving my game like crazy. Make sure to subscribe to always be in the know, and have a freaking wonderful day. Peace.